snack. Me and you gonna have a little chat about books. Hi guys! So I am here today to do a book review, and the book I'm going to be reviewing is this one, The Waking Fire by Anthony Ryan. As you can see, I have it in 2 editions, although actually 3 editions. I have this one, which is the UK Orbit edition, which they very kindly sent to me. This one, which is the US edition, and Ace in the US sent this one out to me very kindly. And I also have it on audiobook because I was very kindly given a free credit to review it for Audible. So, 3 review copies in different forms. I am very, very lucky, and this title was definitely one that was calling to me because I had 3 copies. I needed to get to it. Let's talk about what this is about. It's the start of a new series by Anthony Ryan. I was very intrigued about it when I heard about it because I knew it involved dragons, as you can see, and I mean, I love dragons, so what is not to love? It's set in a world where dragons, or drakes as they are called in these books, have been basically kind of hunted almost to extinction. Not quite, but almost, because the humans of this world, 1 in every 1,000 is a blood blessed, and this means that if they drink the blood of a drake or a dragon, they get special properties and powers from it. So it's kind of like the idea of Mistborn, where you drink metals and they give you powers, but this time it's with dragon blood, which I have to say is pretty cool. Whenever I try and explain Mistborn to people, they kind of look at me funny and they're like, metals? They drink metals? If I said that they drank dragon blood to get their powers, I think people would maybe think I was a little bit cooler and the story sounded a bit better, so that's a cool concept. This world, not a classic medieval fantasy, because it actually has this kind of revolution stage going on. We have certain electronics and machines kind of in play. We have like flintlocks and things like that in play, so it's definitely not your typical medieval fantasy. There's also some really interesting political stuff going on in this series. There's this way of like buying shares and dealing in shares quite often, so that's pretty cool to see coming up in the series in the first book, and presumably this will come back later and we'll see more of that, and we'll see a developing political system and a developing world. So I'm very intrigued about how that's going to happen and how the machinery and sort of technology is going to be integrated into the story later on. In this book we follow 3 main characters. I have to say 2 of them I connected with pretty early on. One of them took me a lot longer to connect with, and I'm still not entirely sure that I did, and I'm probably going to wait until book 2 to make my final decision on him. We have Clay, who is an unregistered blood blessed, and Clay I definitely enjoyed straight from the start point. His storyline was quite interesting. He is a bit of a roguish character, a bit of a rebel, and so I certainly liked him. We next have Lizanne, who is a highly trained infiltrator. She basically infiltrates into people's families or into businesses or wherever she needs to go, and she gets information of all sorts of different kinds. She works for another woman who is asking her to find out certain information about something very mysterious, and we follow her journey as she investigates, tries to uncover things, and what she finds out. I liked her a lot. I definitely think her character was one of the easiest to connect to and one of the most intriguing. She encountered some of the more interesting other characters who were not main characters in her story, and I think she's going to be one to look out for in future books because she's definitely a feisty one. Finally, we have Amor, who is on board of a ship, and he is the character that I found a little bit hard to kind of connect with and to get, I suppose. I liked him as a character. He definitely had some interesting story moments in his plot, but I think he's still growing on me as a person. Like, he doesn't really captivate me as much as the other 2 characters just yet, so we'll see what happens. In terms of pacing, I think my biggest problem with this book was probably the pacing. It starts off quite slow and it takes a while to sort of set things up. I think it was about 3/4 or 2/3 of the way through that this really started to get pretty interesting, and stuff was starting to really happen, and people were getting to see each other and meet each other and communicate more, and I was liking that a lot. So there's a big epic thing that goes on in most people's storylines and covers all of our characters in some way, and I really enjoyed when that sort of climactic thing started happening. I do think it took its time coming. I hope that the next book in the series kind of gets straight into the action a little bit more, because this one did definitely feel a bit slow at times, which is not great. However, when it was in the action, like I say, I was really, really enjoying it. The other slight complaint I have is that we don't have a table to sort of tell you what each of the magics does. We have red, blue, green, black, and possibly a white, although this is much more of a fable than a reality. We're not sure if that exists in terms of magic, and I still couldn't tell you entirely what all of them do. I think over the course of the books you do get to understand a bit more about each of the powers and find out more about what it does, but I would have liked a table to sort of say this colour does this or whatever, just so it stuck in my brain a little bit more, because there were points where I was like, oh, they've just drunk a blue vial, what does that mean? And then it would explain it a bit later on, but I think it would have been a bit more helpful to have that guide in the book. On the whole, I definitely enjoyed this, and I do think it is one I really am intrigued by. It was something that was quite slow going at times, and I had minor problems with it, but I still really enjoyed it, and I still felt super captivated, especially by the end of this, and I was invested in the characters, and I do want to know what's going to happen next with them. So I'm like a little bit torn over this one, but I ended up giving it a 3.5 overall. I do think it's a series I will definitely continue on with, and like I said before, I actually ended up audiobooking this one, and I really, really liked having the audiobook and my 2 physical copies. So I was reading along in the physical copy and also listening to it on my commute to and from work, because I mean, these are big hardbacks. I didn't really want to take them on the train to work with me, so when I was on the train I just listened to the audiobook, and then when I got home I read the book and listened to it, and the audiobook narrator was also really, really good, so I'm very, very glad that I downloaded that and listened to it too. I think that's a great way of doing things. If you can get the ebook or book version alongside the audiobook, that really works for me. So I would love to hear if this is a series that you guys are interested in. I think it's going to be one that a lot of people like, and I think it's going to be one that a lot of people don't like. I feel like it's going to divide some people. I would be super interested in hearing from all of you. If you are going to pick it up, let me know. If you have already, because this is already out, let me know that too and what you thought of it. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!
Thank you for watching my video today. Go pick up a book, then come back and chat with me again.